All right. Today's upload is a review. Of course it is. Of uh of um Futurama, season 2, episode 16, titled "The Deep South." Take that for what you want. And episode 17, Bender Gets Made. So, episode 16, this is another one of those episodes that I think gets a lot of play on all the networks that this series is available on. So I remember seeing this particular episode several times. It's a decent episode. It's not, but the it's not spectacular. And then you add in the fact that I've seen it so many times, it diminishes it even more. But I'm not saying it's a bad episode. I'm just saying it's one of the episodes that I've seen more than a handful of times. So it's like I'm like, oh God, I can't believe I said that. The way I see it, I almost know the episode like the back of my hand, and that's not the best. That's not what you want from an episode. At least in my opinion, you don't want that from an episode. You want to. Um, it's fun to revisit an episode after having not seen it for a while. It kind of like, what is that? What is that? Piece of dead skin or a scabbard? Um, it's kind of like rekindling an old romance or something. Use whatever you want to use. It's that same type of feeling. But this episode follows Fry mostly, the character Fry, but Bender's in there, of course. Leela's in this one. Well, I think everybody makes an appearance in this episode. It's simply put, they wind up taking a fishing trip. Something as easy as that, right? But of course, it's in the future. All that gets thrown in there. Fishing off of a they're fishing off of a spaceship in the middle of the ocean. Leela is spearfishing. Everybody else is using traditional rods. Um, so they have the majority of fishing techniques covered there, except netting and fly fishing, I think. Oh yeah, and commercial fishing can be considered. I guess you can consider commercial fishing net fishing, but with just a larger net. I don't know, whatever. I'm getting a little too technical, but they have the majority of ways to catch fish covered. So there's a few hijinks here and there. Of course, there's not that many. There's actually not that many jokes in this episode, which I find pretty funny. I don't know uh, exactly what they're getting at with this one. It takes. I feel like it takes a big person to admit something like this, but this episode was probably over my head. So that they wind up getting into a struggle with this really big fish, pulls them all the way down, and they find a lost city of. That's right, you guessed it, Atlanta, not Atlantis, Atlanta. Um, there's a few jokes thrown at the city of Atlanta. It's obviously was a different time now. Seeing as now as Atlanta has transformed into like one of the, like maybe one of the biggest music hubs in America. Don't take my word for it. Google it. Uh, Google it for yourself, or ask anybody to know. Like a lot of people, it's bustling over there now. It's thriving, which I'm not even gonna get into that. I just don't like crowded cities. Okay, so yeah, so Fry falls in love with the mer woman, but the deal is broken because she doesn't have the proper organs. If you get my drift, I feel like there was no lesson to be learned in this episode at all. Maybe I missed it, but maybe the reason that Atlanta was chosen was for something greater. I don't know. Like I said, I have to admit this one may be over my head. What you want? I don't do that. You know that. You know I don't do that. you know I don't do that. You know I don't do that. Cut it out. Cut it out. You don't cut it out. I'll pet you though. A little toasty, huh? Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, she's a little toasty. It's a little warm in here. I had to scratch my face, and I'm petting the dog the other hand, so I can't do both. Anyway, decent episode. Just seen it too many times, so for that reason alone, I'm gonna rate it pretty low. Now, I think I've also seen this episode quite a few times, but maybe just like one or two less than the last episode. This one is a play on almost all mafia movies, but with robots. Come on, man. This is the introduction of another great set of characters. There's three characters. There's the robot Don. There's the other guy. His name is like Mouse Pad or something like that. And then there's Clamps. He's so funny. So trying to think. It starts out with Bender meeting his because Bender's a robot, but he wants to be a professional chef for among other things. He wants to be a professional chef. Well, maybe this is just his greatest desire is to be a professional chef. So they get a chance to go and see a celebrity chef, looking at him having a good time. Leela winds up getting blinded, and then the chef feels bad and winds up offering to cook them all their special meals, but then they wind up having to pay for it. He's like, I'm not running a charity here. There's jokes left and right. It's really funny. Um, Bender decides, hey, we don't have any money, but I could work it off. I said, okay, fine. That's where he gets introduced to the robot mafia. Robot mafia the Don winds up liking him, and they wind up doing a couple of jobs. Did they do a couple of jobs together, or the first job they do together winds up being where they rob the rest of the crew for some cigars. Cliche, I know. Um, the funniest part of it, I think, is closer to the end of the episode when when they figure out that there still may be somebody on the ship, but it's Bender, but Bender's with them because he hasn't told them about them, and he hasn't told anyone on the crew about the mafia, and he hasn't told the mafia about the crew. You know what I'm saying? So he has a panel inside. Once he opens his panel, he has a knob inside that can turn his um, whatchamacallit. He can turn his language from English to uh, King's English. So he starts talking with a British accent, talking about watercress, and I can't redo it. It's just too funny. Um, but he winds up skating off there, and nobody's finds out that he actually helped to rob his coworkers. Um, Trying to think, yeah, nobody finds out. Look, I'm leaving out a lot because I think, I think I've said this too many times. I'd have to write down like detailed notes in order to get some of this out, and even then, I would still butcher a lot of the things that are meant to be funny. This series is just worth to watch, no matter what anybody's opinion is. I know it could even uh, go down a generational thing, or of course it's personal preference, but hey, I enjoy Futurama. That's why I've decided to spend time rewatching episodes and then uploading my opinions on them. Okay, not to say that the other animated shows out there aren't any good. I wouldn't say that because I've enjoyed plenty of other animated shows. I just enjoy this one the most because, okay, I won't say why until I get to the end of the series. It'll just be better that way. So until tomorrow.